To celebrate the official launch of the Livestock Auctioneer's new market prices platform, today we are delighted to be joined by some very special guests from across the agricultural industry to talk all things auction marts and market prices. The new market prices platform will provide real-time trade updates for live cattle, sheep and pigs sold through markets in England and Wales. So Will, as an auctioneer, from your perspective, what are the benefits to both buyer and seller in terms of using the live auction ring?
Yeah, so for our sellers or vendors, we offer a transparent, open marketplace. It's open to everybody regardless of what breed, quality, spec, grade of stock you've got. And there's also a range of buyers that are there to buy all these different kind of specifications, so to speak. But also a major important part of farming as well is being able to benchmark, being able to come and to be able to say, actually my sheep aren't making as much as I thought they were worth. Yeah. Why? What am I doing wrong, or what am I doing right, or whatever, you know. And to be able to compare and contrast with other people that are showing similar stock but maybe making £3 or £4 a head more. And I guess as margins are getting tighter, people need to be, you know, every penny needs to be squeezed out, doesn't it?
I think that's a really good point, and having only gone back into the sheep on the farm a few years ago, it's been a real learning experience for me to understand what buyers want, have a chat to the auctioneer, and that comparison between other lambs coming in, we mainly sell spring lambs, being able to know what a good finished lamb looks like, for me has been really, really important, and I wouldn't have got that selling through a different method.
No.
So data-driven decision-making is becoming more and more important in many industries, and agriculture is no different. So Mark, as a farmer, how and why do you use market prices, and what's the benefit to your business in doing so?
The benefit to me of using the market prices platform is deciding when to market your lambs or your old ewes, and generally look at the market prices in its current platform Monday to Thursday, gets you a rough idea of numbers in the auctions, prices in the auctions, farm assured, non-farm assured, and you just get a different, you know, going back a few years ago, you would take your lambs or your sheep weekly, you didn't know what they were making from the week before. Nowadays there's a platform there to be able to you know, decide whether to market or not market, or how many to take, and it's so it's valuable tool to me. Numbers is quite a big thing, of like numbers in the auctions. So if the numbers are quite a lot bigger, generally trade could be a little bit easier. But you've got the festivals coming into account, haven't you? Or you've got different things that you've got to market lambs at the right time of year. You know,
there's so many factors as well that impinge it. And I kind of guess going back to when you were a lad, Mark, and your dad was farming, you know, you'd kind of go to think, well, we made X last week, so we must make X this week. But actually, the 7 days is a massive time frame. So much can change, and it's not just a local little area now. You know, with everything that, you know, wagons and road networks and all that's changing and developing all the time over the last 50 years, you know, what happens here can be affected by something that's happening in Devon and Cornwall or up in Aberdeenshire.
Or abroad even now, isn't it? Global marketplace,
And we use, you know, as auctioneers, we also use that sort of the market prices for the numbers, you know, the numbers of stock that are out.
Is a big factor in the prices in the auction of that day.
And the supply and demand, isn't it? You know, if demand's high but supply is low, it's gonna increase the prices. But if supply's high, it can kind of maybe pull back demand a little bit, and it helps you, I guess, to know when's best. You know, there's been some big shows Monday, Tuesday. Do a show sheep on the Wednesday, Thursday. You know, do we wait a little week?
And if we've got that technology there, and most of us do have some kind of a smartphone, it's so instant, and that is the time frame that we actually need in agriculture to be making those decisions. There's gone are the days of being able to mull something over. We do have to make those decisions really quite instantly, because the margins, as you mentioned, are so small. A day difference in delaying could make a massive difference to your overall income.
It's no longer a lucky dip. You can actually plan your business a
little
bit more.
A little bit more so.
It's no secret that auction markets are the heart and the hub of many rural communities. So Rebecca, for you, like, what are the wider benefits of the live auction ring beyond the point of sale and to the wider industry?
I think it's a great point, and we see in kind of social media and media across the board of how isolated farming is as an industry. Farmers often don't leave their farm for days or even weeks at some times of the year. So being able to actually go in person to an auction market, it's not just about speaking to buyers and auctioneers for that kind of business side of things. There's a real social and friendship element of farmers coming together, and I think the challenges we're facing as an industry often aren't understood by public or maybe other friends outside of farming. So being able to talk to people who know that cash flow isn't very good, or we've had a lot of rain recently which is really impacting things, is absolutely vital when it comes to that mental health and that community side of agriculture.
It's a massive thing as well, mental health at the moment. I know it's talked about a lot. I have conversations with people, and the conversations I'd never even think of having at all, you know, and people confide in you, but, you know, the old saying, you know, a problem shared is a problem halved. And as an auctioneer, you know, we certainly find ourselves as not just as auctioneers, but sort of as counsellors as well at times for certain people. But, you know, like you say, getting a weight off your mind and getting out and talking to people, sharing a problem, but also learning from each other as well. You know, you know, I was talking to such and such down the road, and how's he doing this? That sounds like I could probably implement that in my business as well. But you might not have picked that up. You know, you might not have ever gone into his yard to have a conversation with him.
You bounce ideas off each other. You know, fellow farmers, you might be saying, "Oh, we've had a problem with you know, such and such in your sheep," and you're like, "Well, actually, we do this. It works really well." So you're like, "Oh yeah," and you start using that. You know, whereas you might never
implement that in my
if you never have talked to him, you might not have. Or you're like, after lambing time, you'll come out to the auction. You've not been there for a while. You're like, "Oh, we've had a bit of a rough lambing time." It's like, "Well, we did as well." You know, we've had the experience, same issues. Not just yourself. Who's had a really hard lambing time.
You can always, farmers can always isolate themselves a little bit and feel like they are the only one going through that. And actually, to look at the bigger picture and to think, people are in the same boat as me. I'm not on my own.
At an auction, you're surrounded by people you trust as well, so people confiding in you as an auctioneer, that relationship is going beyond the business. And other farmers as well, you're trusting other farmers because, as you say, they've been going through the same sort of issues. And actually, farmers are a bit of a different breed. But ultimately, once you get kind of below the surface, we're all there and really do want to help each other out. And auctions are a perfect hub for that to happen.
Bringing everyone together,
Well, thank you guys so much for your time today. If you want to find out more about the LEA and market prices, then simply head to our website or our social media channels and you'll find all the information there, including links on how to sign up and access market prices today.